Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another wonderful new mod release for Fallout 4. Today we're checking out the brand new AEP7 Laser Pistol and Pew Pew mod by the Fallout 4 New Vegas team, more specifically ShimSham and Cadavver. This mod is an absolutely beautiful recreation of the classic design of the laser pistol present in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. As many of you know, when the laser pistol migrated its way over to Fallout 4, it lost some of its traditional design characteristics, moving into the new style of being able to convert this thing between a pistol and laser rifle on the fly at a weapons workbench. It just lost some of its core design features in order to be more compatible with the laser rifle design. Well, now we have a separate version that is just a laser pistol and has that classic design, and I have to say, the design on this is so incredible. It looks almost so good that I can't quite tell if some of the assets are vanilla. That's how well it's been remade. The style that it fits in Fallout 4 is just perfect, and it still harkens back to that old Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas look. Everything about this mod is great aesthetically. Functionally, though, it's got some new quirks as well, being a lot more like Fallout 4's weapon sandbox, allowing you to customize many different assets on this weapon over at the weapons workbench, allowing you to upgrade its various pieces and even add on some different parts that make it perform a bit differently, including a new one that I'm so excited to show off in a little bit that I've never thought of before. Now, on top of that, there's also a handful of classic, unique laser pistols added with this mod. Some of them are very similar to their old versions where they don't look any different, but they do perform differently. And then, of course, there is the newly added Pew Pew from Fallout New Vegas, which is completely recreated with its beautiful aesthetics and actually functions like an entirely different weapon. If you want to get your hands on the regular old laser pistol included in this mod, it's actually added to the leveled list and can be found pretty much anywhere that you would find a regular laser pistol on the leveled list. So that could be Gunners, Brotherhood of Steel, anywhere you would find one in the vanilla game, you may find one of these instead, which is a perfect way to integrate this weapon into the game, in my opinion. Now, really quick, there is one caveat when it comes to downloading this mod, though it is one that I don't mind whatsoever, and that is that it does require munitions, because this mod comes with a completely reanimated weapon that uses small energy cells, and in order to get those small energy cells, this mod does make use of munitions, which does have that ammo type. Now, if you're really going to be stubborn and you're not going to use munitions, there is a patch out there for people who don't want it, but just use munitions. It's great. It adds all kinds of new ammo types, and it's absolutely seamless in your game, and plus you need it for this mod to function correctly. Now, I think that covers most of the basic stuff. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more in-depth, starting off with the stats of this weapon. So here we are in-game with the newly added laser pistol. This thing has a base damage of 20, uses energy cells, small energy cells to be specific, has a fire rate of 50, a range of 143, an accuracy of 72, a weight of 2.6 pounds, and a value of 79 caps. And in its most basic format that you see here, this thing does perform pretty much identically to how it did in the classic games, but you can modify it pretty heavily at a weapons workbench, offering some new functionality that those versions just didn't have. Now, we've also got some uniques to cover in this mod, including Colonel Autumn's laser pistol here, which does extra damage to ghouls and super mutants and can be found actually aboard the Pridwin, interestingly enough. We have the Smuggler's End, which will do extra damage against humans and can actually be found in the tunnels of the castle. We also have the Protectron's Gaze, which can actually be found in the exact same place that the Automatron version of the Protectron's Gaze is included, as this is actually a replacer. And then, of course, we have the wonderful Pew Pew, which actually boasts some very different stats, though these are not entirely accurate, as I have upgraded this thing fairly well. And this thing can actually be found over at Scrap Palace, and I must say, the design on this is absolutely incredible. Alright, now then, let's have a look at animations, as the animations here are what really make this weapon shine. Starting off with the regular version of the laser pistol, you can see we have a nice one-handed grip, and of course, a custom reload. Which looks absolutely fantastic. This new version of the weapon does also have some built-in iron sights, which I think look beautiful. Very different from the classic design, but definitely an improvement. But there actually is more to this weapon. There is a version of an attachment that you can actually equip that will give you a fold-out stock. I never really thought that's what the bottom bit was for, but that's definitely a very interesting take on it, and I think it's super, super cool. I'll go ahead and play that again if you didn't quite catch it the first time. That is such a neat idea. Now then, as we've been doing in recent mod reviews, let's go ahead and test out the accuracy on this thing. I have a feeling it will fare very, very well, starting with close range, medium range, and long-range targets. It's a laser weapon. This thing is going to, well, perform like a laser. It's going to be very, very accurate. Now, how about attachments? Well, there actually is a pretty good selection here. Starting off with the grip, we have the standard grip and that fold-out stock. Now, in the weapons preview, you see that there's not really much of a difference, but that's going to give you that animation that we saw earlier, and is actually going to affect the stats just a little bit, giving you a bonus to accuracy and value. Now, we also have an option to swap out the energy cell for a bulk energy cell, allowing for bigger capacity but lower damage, an overcharged energy cell for more damage, an optimized energy cell for even more damage, and a max charge energy cell for a maximum damage of 30 compared to the standard 20. Then for sights, we have the option for the standard iron sights or a reflex sight, which is a good addition for this mod. We also have a muzzle section where we can throw on a beam focuser. Now you'll notice that there is not a splitter. You'll actually get a splitting effect from that Protectron's gaze unique that is just built into the weapon, and you can actually put a focuser on that, which is pretty neat. Now for the capacitor section, we have even more damage upgrades from standard all the way up to overcharged, giving you a maximum damage of 35. I believe that is the maximum, yep. And then you can combine that with the energy cell as well to get even more damage out of this thing. And then finally, we have the rear section, which is new to the energy weapon category, which will allow for a standard rear, an automatic override, which will reduce the damage and increase the fire rate, and then a recycler, which will still be semi-automatic, but will give you an extra energy cell every 4 shots, which I think is pretty neat. Now, we are not quite done at the weapons workbench just yet, as the Pew Pew unique variant does have some differences. The grip and energy cell section are identical, however, the sight section does remove the addition of the reflex sight, as this thing actually has some custom raised iron sights made out of those cells there. Now, for the muzzle section, we actually do have the addition of a sarsaparilla splitter, which I think is really, really funny and definitely very fitting for the weapon. We also have the removal of the automatic version of this weapon, so it will be semi-auto only, which makes sense since it only has a magazine capacity of 2, but you do still have the option to throw on a recycler, which I would recommend throwing on. Now then, it is time for our damage test to see how this weapon actually performs in combat. As usual, we'll be running our test on 3 identical Deathclaws as our damage baseline, and we'll be using 3 versions of the weapon. One here with no upgrades, no perks, just the standard version of the weapon to see how it does when you first pick it up. Then a fully upgraded version with the maxed out attachments to see how it does better in the late game. And then also, we'll be using a fully upgraded version of Pew Pew to see what kind of damage that thing can spit out. We will be using no perks, we just want to see how the weapon performs on its own, though if you want to guesstimate how it performs with perks, just double the damage output of whatever we do here. Now, starting with the basic version of this weapon, no attachments and no perks, this thing is not going to be great, as Deathclaws do have a pretty high energy resistance, but let's go ahead and see how it does. While it doesn't have the craziest damage per shot, it does fire pretty fast, allowing for a lot of shots on target. It does also help that we have pretty good recoil control, making it easy to land those precise shots. So using about 69 shots, that's a pretty good number, the Deathclaw is finally down. Let's see how we do when we upgrade those stats. Hard to get a precise read on exactly how many shots we use, as I do have the recycler on this thing, but it's somewhere in the ballpark of 20-ish, a pretty good upgrade compared to the standard version. Now then, let's check out Pew Pew. This is a unique that does a whole lot of damage, but it has a very small magazine capacity. And that definitely is a lot of damage, putting down the Deathclaw in only 4 shots. But you are going to have to reload every 2 shots, so that is kind of a drawback. So yeah, I think that covers just about everything that is in the current version of the AEP7 laser pistol. However, there are some other updates that are already mentioned on the mod page that I do want to talk about. While this mod is already out, there are already some planned updates that will be coming in the future, including custom sound effects. There will be third-person animations for that fold-out stock. The stock I showed you in this video is only available in first person as of right now. Additionally, there will be added third-person power armor animations, so you power armor users who happen to play in third person do get a nice treat with that as well. And then finally, there will be an added quest to acquire Pew Pew. As of right now, like I said, it is available at Scrap Palace, but that will change in a future update. Altogether, this is an absolutely amazing mod, a beautiful recreation of a classic weapon, and altogether, just really top-notch work that gets me really excited for Fallout 4 New Vegas. So extreme props to ShimSham and Cadavver and everybody else that worked on this mod. This is absolutely wonderful stuff. If you guys want to try it out for yourself, it will be linked down in the description below. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a rating. It really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing for more videos just like this. Big shout out to all of my patrons for supporting every single video. And of course, a very special thank you to Avian4, Captain Chaos, Freedom, Glasma, Helljumper, Indecisive Wolf, Jackie Noid, Joseph, Kid Hades, Cushy, Logan Rigmaiden, Mike Erhan, Moonlit Gamer, Oscar, Scott, Steven, Timmy76, Youth RC, and Voider for joining that Tier 3 Patreon membership. I never thought there'd be so many of you guys. If you'd like to support the channel over on Patreon, you can do so using the link down in the description, but it's completely optional. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace!